this week.
It's so rough.
I think it's gonna be a little rough this week.
It's gonna be rough and tough.
That scalawag drunk Jeff last night. I started drinking early so I could get a really good night's sleep, and then that scalawag drunk Jeff, he decided at like 11:30 that he wanted another beer and went to the convenience store and bought like a tall boy. So instead of my normal 7 beers, I think I had what's closer to 9 beers yesterday, and then today I went to Starbucks and I got the like ultra Starbucks coffee. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm really hungover, but also hyper at the same time. So I think this is a good combination.
I'm a little concerned for you, Jeff. Sometimes sometimes I'm a little concerned for you. Well, I hope this podcast will help turn you around. But sometimes you say things that make me go, oh.
Yeah,
okay.
no, let's not open that can. We're here for video game news, not Jeff's health. Let's not talk about Jeff's health. That's a whole other thing. Welcome back, everybody, to the RageSelect podcast here on RageSelect. I am Jeff.
I am Dr. Bryce.
Oh no.
Oh Jesus. Hello.
Yeah, that's a different pod. We could do that on Bryce's self-help podcast.
That's
right. Bryce, how you been doing?
Off this thing. I'm doing good. How are you, man?
Hyper and hungover.
No, yeah, we went over this. So we want to be dead. The whole thing. That's right. No, I'm good. I am. I'm a big Formula One fan, and there's all sorts of news and exciting things happening in between the races. So
okay,
I'm excited and jittery, and I'm hopped up on high octane fuel.
Sounds like all we need to do is get you 9 beers, and you and I will be on the exact same page.
That sounds like drunk Bryce maybe made some choices yesterday. No, I'm good.
Well, you know what? Something happened this week today. We're recording this on a Saturday, and something happened today, and I'm completely flabbergasted by it. And I feel like everybody needs to know because I feel like I didn't know, even though
he was on TV and then he became the president.
No. Close. Did you know that they put Godzilla Minus One on Netflix today? Just out of nowhere?
It was a surprise drop.
Yeah, and also on VOD, and they're not even charging like the horrible VOD. You can like rent it for $6 the first day that it's out instead of whatever.
There's a black and white version. You can get it in black and it was the black. I'm assuming it's like the Frank, no, not Frank Miller, the Mad Max guy.
George Miller.
George Miller, kind of the like doing a real proper black and white like color grade on it, not just like turn the saturation down.
So this is great though, because I watched a whole bunch of weird movies over the Memorial Day weekend, and I don't know, I mean, like, Civil War, I liked it, and Love Lies Bleeding, I liked it, but I also saw Godzilla Minus One finally, and I loved it. I thought it was amazing. It was probably one of the best, it was probably one of my favorite Godzilla movies I've seen in a long time. I just watched the American one, and I was like, just CG and characters I don't really care about, and this weird story about the Hollow Earth. But I was really surprised at how Godzilla Minus One got me to care so much about like the main character in the movie, to the point where there were actually points where I found myself getting irritated that Godzilla showed up, because I was like, but the pathos, this man and his pain, I need to know more. But then I'm one of those sickos that really liked Shin Godzilla. Like, I would want to see a bunch of people having like meetings and press conferences about Godzilla, as opposed to flying around the Hollow Earth trying to find.
We gotta write a memoranda, and if we don't write it right, man,
yep,
they're gonna have your ass, not my ass. Just have your ass.
Just really dramatic music behind people writing stuff on whiteboards, and like a bunch of nerds talking about like the best way to get rid of this giant monster. No, but I thought it was great. Like, I think there's a good reason that it's got such high marks, and that I feel like everybody should watch it. because I really enjoyed it. So,
are we in an era of Godzilla dominance?
You'd have to ask my friend Matt Frank about that.
Okay, next time Matt Frank is on the podcast, ask him that, and ask him with that inflection. Because are we in an era of Godzilla dominance?
I mean, we're kind of, because there's Japanese Godzilla movies.
Of the monsters?
There's like American Godzilla movies. There's like Netflix anime Godzilla series. Is
there a game recently? I guess the Triple Crown it needs to also have a good game.
That still seems to be a place where we're having trouble. I think the last official Godzilla game was like a phone game, and then before that there was like a PS4 game.
The Telltale Godzilla game.
Oh man. There you go.
And it's like from the perspective of, it seems just like a random guy, I'm just like a random guy. And you're like, are they just gonna do a Cloverfield for this whole fucking game? And you're spending like 5 hours thinking like, they're really just fucking doing Cloverfield for their whole fucking game. And it's suddenly like he's like Godzilla's father because there's time travel, and then it's like the Heart of Shadows or whatever, any number of awful PS2 games, just like kind of insert it there, but just do like a time travel thing. I
think you and I were on two different pages because you said a Telltale Godzilla game, and I was like, so then Godzilla walks up to Mothra, and Mothra is like, Godzilla, I don't know if we should stay here for a while or if we should go to Monster Island. And you're like, I think we should go to Monster Island, and it says Mothra will remember that, and then you walk over to the left-hand side.
We do that too. We do that,
This is not a finite number of games. You can make infinity video games.
Make them all. Telltale. Hey, bring Telltale back.
Yeah,
bring him back.
Yeah. Yeah. So I really liked it. Did you see that while it was in the theater, or do you have any interest, or is it just kind of?
I've not been in a movie theater in a million years. I watched that the Star Wars hotel video by Jenny Nicholson. 4-hour video, just casually, just like on a lark. It's like the day before I was like, oh, I should watch that Star Wars video. And then the next day I just fucking sat down and watched it. And I saw it was 4 hours. And I went, oh, wow, that's really long. And then I sat and watched it for 4 hours. And then, okay, I open up HBO and I go like, oh my God, the box office is now in the luxury of my own home. And I want to turn on a Dune 2, your mom. And I look at it and it says 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I say, not in this lifetime, thank you. I had no appetite for that.
So what you're saying is that you'll watch a 4-hour movie about a bad experience in a Star Wars hotel, but not the cinematic blockbusters. It's the highest grossing thing that's come out this year so far.
Oh yeah. Apparently.
So do they need to make the Hollywood movies shorter or longer?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Shorter?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So like, would you watch a 4-hour Dune 2 movie? I guess if you put the first one and the second one together, it would be 4 hours.
If you put them both together and they were 4 hours, I'd be down for it. But the first movie was really long too.
Yeah.
And that was the one where they like surprised you with it being part one. Get on that, Hollywood. Just a little bit of free advice.
Okay.
For you.
Anything else that you've seen recently that you feel like the listeners would want to jump on board? May not be aware of?
I dove into this may be worth giving it another go. I really easily fell back into Outer Worlds. The Outer Worlds. The Skyrim in space.
Yeah, the Obsidian.
Obsidian.
Yeah.
Yes. They've got the bonus deluxe edition of the year version on the PlayStation Game Pass thing, and you know what? That's a perfectly good game loop. You would think you would think that we would make 8 more Fallout 3 like games where you're doing literally just not like almost Fallout, or just like doing just like literally doing a Fallout, because it works. And I think like the story stuff, all of the cutesy hyper corporate evolution of human culture. I think maybe it's because the game came out. When was that? In 2020. That all of that stuff doesn't feel so cartoony as much. Just at least looking by that Steam release date.
It was
2019.
I think it was
2019.
2020 was the Steam release. So,
gotcha. And so like I've just really been enjoying it, and partially I had played it before, so that's another thing is I'm going in warm, and when I played it last, I played a lot of it, so I don't even think I'm past any of the things I had already played at before. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm doing a dumb character, which is funny, but he's also like very high persuasion and high charisma, and I'm enjoying like sequence breaking things a little bit, like that first planet that you start on, where you've got the big choice between which city essentially do you save,
right?
And I had a really interesting time not going into the town immediately at the start of the game, but like going around and seeing the second town with the greenhouse and all, and seeing them, and then going into the city stuff and feeling like, oh yeah, no, fuck the city. The city, this is not a choice here. Though ironically, am I right? Isn't there like a cannibalism element to that story? Because that didn't pop up in mine when I played it. But I thought the whole thing with the second town was like, sorry, spoiler alert for this 5-year-old game. That like the second, like
the smaller town,
the deserters town, yeah, that like, they were free and they had, fresh stuff and all, but it was because the way that they cleaned up the soil was with human remains.
I mean, if it's a Fallout adjacent property, so you kind of just roll the dice, and it could be cannibalism. It can always be cannibalism.
Like it's that, or it's going to be radiation. So, but I was kind of speed running it a little bit. But again, like I've been like kind of this is not, sorry to damn with faint praise, but I've been looking for a mindless game to play for a while, and this one ended up being exactly what I wanted.
My favorite part of when I played The Outer Worlds was, like a lot of Fallout games, it has, I did play a high charisma character, and I feel like because I knew there would be some kind of charisma options that would make the game a lot easier, and so I got to the final boss and I didn't have quite enough charisma to basically say, well, why don't you just stop all this? Why don't you just give up and go away? And it was like I was like 1 point below that, and that was when I remembered that you can drink alcohol in that game to raise your charisma. And so I just reloaded my last save, got super wasted, and then talked. Like, I couldn't do it normally, but my wasted character was totally able to talk the final boss of the game into doing it. I was like, yes.
And like you're supposed to be able to do that in the Fallout games too. But yeah, like that sort of stuff is interesting because it makes you think of like equipment. You have like a weight encumbrance element, but at the same time, there's this piece of armor, and this gives me like plus 15 engineering. Like, there's going to be a time when I need to use this and put something together. Like, you actually start to play that, and that's when I feel like the big spreadsheet of an inventory system works really well, is when you feel like you are constantly making choices about your gear and about how you might want to act in the future. Not what you're going to do in the future, but like how you might want to act in the future. I think that is really cool. And to indicate how enthralling it was. So I probably played about, I want to say maybe like 8 or 10 hours of The Outer Worlds. I bought Baldur's Gate like 2 weeks ago and have clocked just under 6 hours. Not even the 5.9 hours on Baldur's Gate. So the Baldur's Gate is also very good. Just an indication that I don't want to talk about the new thing. I want to talk about Fallout. Let me just keep making Fallout games. It's like you surely have talked about people flocking back to Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 because of the show, and like because those games work. It's why the Assassin's Creed games work. Like they feel well. They feel good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, definitely. I think that there's a pretty. This will kind of segue us into the news, but like there was a pretty heavy rumor that's been going around. Actually, I think it might have been confirmed that Bethesda is doing a remake / re-release of Fallout 3, where they're going back in and like kind of. I don't think they're. I don't know if it's like totally redoing it, but if it's just like making it run well on modern systems, I would really like to play that. And then it would be. And then my thought was like, oh, it's a real shame that this didn't come out along with the Fallout show, because I don't want to play Fallout 4 or Fallout 76. I want to play Fallout 3. That was one I put like hundreds and hundreds of hours into, and I actually loaded it up and found out that it's one of those games where the frame rate is tied to like the game mechanics. So I've got a 120 hertz monitor. If you run Fallout 3 at 120 hertz, everything is at double speed, like a Benny Hill sketch.
All the physics and the collision stuff. Yeah.
And so then I started running it on the backwards compatible on the Series X, and it worked a lot better there. But it was like, I don't want to, because I kind of got a Fallout 3 replay in me, but I don't want to start doing that if there's going to be a remake that comes out in October, because I don't want to be like, oh, okay, well,
you wouldn't be done with it by October.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty good at that game.
What number? I know, that's what I'm saying. What number playthrough of this would this be? Would this be number 2,
3, or 4, somewhere around there?
You're gonna be fucking done with this. You're gonna go straight to the Capitol, and you're gonna take that filter. You're gonna be like, I've already memorized the passcode. Bleep 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 bleep. Like,
see, that's the one thing in those games that I can't do is the hacking mini game. I don't know what it is.
Oh, really?
It's been explained to me 100 times, and I keep looking at it and going like, okay, I've got it this time. And then I start doing it. I'm like, I don't got it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
It is unique in that it doesn't play like any other actual game.
Yeah.
Like it is a very unique mini game. But that does make it pretty difficult.
Yeah.
I don't know if I love hearing that. I don't know if I love hearing that or if I hate hearing that, because I clearly like playing these Fallout 3-esque games. But I didn't love Fallout 4 and I didn't play Fallout 76, but it was a live service game.
Mm-hmm.
And
Starfield's a mess.
Starfield's kind of a mess.
Yep.
And all of the great things about the show are things that they have not been able to do in the games.
Yep.
Maybe they could just make Fallout 3 prettier. Maybe.
I mean, they're both owned by Microsoft. Maybe let Obsidian do it. Maybe let Obsidian make a new Fallout game.
Don't get cute. Don't get cute, Jeff. They're not gonna do that. This is an adult. Adults are talking, Jeff.
Okay.
Don't get cute.
Don't you say the words Fallout New Vegas 2. Not in this place. Not right now.
I don't even know. First off, the Outer Worlds 2. Don't you interrupt them. Let them finish making that.
Sure. They're making their own Skyrim right now. So, you know.
I missed that. Yeah.
Yep. They're making a game called Avowed that's like a Skyrim style game.
That wasn't canceled?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Wow.
Well,
Avowed.
Speaking of games that haven't been canceled, we got a big Sony State of Play this week. Just want to let everybody know ahead of time, this is all third-party stuff. There is no like big Sony news, and I'm gonna tell you right now that like, you know, Bryce, I watch these with my with the folks in my Discord a lot, you know, especially during E3 time. We'll just sit in there and just kind of like live react to stuff.
Patreon Discord available at patreon.com/RageSelect.
Yes, that one. And I fell asleep before this one happened, but when I came back, people were like, "Oh, that was disappointing." I'm like, "You guys say that about everything," and then I watched it, and I was like, anyway. Let's.
Sony doesn't put on a good show with these state of plays.
Yeah,
like, I like the idea of them, but for as much shit as I give Microsoft for their own idiosyncrasies, their habits, whatever. I'm meaning their habits. Like Sony doesn't always put on for Sony. I like the little graphics that they do. I like the little
the little interstitials,
like the logo. Yeah. Like, those are kind of cool. But,
so yeah, this started with the announcement that Sony now owns Firewalk Studios, which is the company that is making this game called Concord. Bryce, this game bums me out, man. It bums me out so hard. Like, so they had this kind of like flavor trailer where they have all the characters from this game, and I did this to myself. I watched this and I let myself get excited. I love this little cinematic of them. They're talking about stealing this thing and a bunch of aliens.
Distinctly Guardians of the Galaxy ass moment that we're looking at. Yeah, I gotcha.
The guy's putting the hot sauce on his bowl of purple oatmeal or whatever. I mean, okay, it's Overwatch. It's like an online hero shooter game with a kind of a sci-fi wrapper with the like really good character designs. I feel like ever since Overwatch,
that is Overwatch.
Yeah, companies have really good character designs that get me excited about these characters, and it's like, well, what will I be doing with these characters? Exploring the galaxy? Like, no, shooting 6 other people and getting yelled at for not playing the meta. That's what you're
never going to be looking at them.
Yes. Which okay, but I should say that they did say that one of the things they were doing, it's kind of interesting, was that like every week or every month or something, they were going to be making like cinematics that run, like custom cinematics that run in between your games that kind of tell the story of these ragtag space adventure guys and their lives and their loves and their laughs and what they're doing when they're not fighting each other. And I'm like, well, okay, but at the heart of it, I guess, it's not for me. I'm not interested in this style of game. And it seems like I see all this great art and this work put into this, and I'm like, but it's just not something I'm interested in playing. I would love it if it was a single player game like the Guardians of the Galaxy game, which did very poorly, or Outer Worlds, which did do super, super great. But I don't know.
I look at this and I just go like, what's being put first here? Like, you just see a lot of games that, I think are easy to say, oh, that's just, that's just Ubisoft's version of Destiny. That's just XY. It's easy to sum up some games as elevator pitches,
right?
Because they seem like that's how the idea was formulated, and as far as, and it only developed that far. Well, we're gonna do Overwatch, but in space. Oh, we're gonna do Counter-Strike, but it's gonna be with League of Legends freaks. Like, and I see that here. I don't know why you're telling this story this way.
Mm-hmm.
And this gameplay looks fine, but I thought we were talking about the cinematics, because then the cinematics look like Overwatch and Star Wars.
Yeah, the cinematics look really nice. The gameplay looks like Overwatch with a Guardians of the Galaxy skin over it. Like the same kind of color palette, the same kind of sci-fi weirdos and strange stuff. It seems...
Oh, alien blue mold. Ooh.
Yeah, it seems just very cynical, this idea of like, well, we want to make our own Overwatch. And I guess, I will give them this credit that I was really into Overwatch when it came out, and I've fallen out of love with Overwatch as it has become more of an esports and less of a like this kind of cultural thing where even people who don't play shooters can play this game because it's got these likable characters. So you know what? If they can do that, if they can make a game that's fun to play, that is accessible to a lot of different people, and also has these kind of interesting characters with nice like cinematics and writing, sure, I'll give it a shot. But I put my hand on that stove too many times, Bryce. I've been burned by these promises of just like, oh, it's an engaging world with like exciting gameplay and you're gonna love it. And it's like, well, maybe. I don't know.
And Did they mention price? Is this free to play or is this pay and play?
That I don't know. Yeah. There's a beta test. I mean, the thing is, this could end up being on PlayStation Plus. Like, Sony won't put first-party stuff on PlayStation Plus, but, they put, like, Foam Stars and the Destruction All-Stars. Like, they have put day one games on PS Plus that are kind of this caliber, so I wouldn't be surprised if this ended up as a day one PS Plus. Yeah, if you got PS Plus, the high-tier one, you can have it type of thing. But
then again, like, I mean, Destruction All-Stars I thought was good, but ended up... I guess is still around, and then you mentioned Foam Stars, which is like if a comedy writer designed a bad game.
It's like somebody did a lot of research to figure out exactly what would make me the angriest man in the world, and then decided to make a game on it.
And so, like, being day one on PS Pass is like 50 is another like coin flip on if it's any good.
Yeah.
Like you can show all these great big cinematic story moments, but if the next thing that you say is, aren't you gonna love seeing 30 seconds of that, and we're gonna change that 30 seconds every 3 weeks, and then eventually either enough bits will be out where you could kind of concoct a story in your mind, or we've drawn you along enough while we were finishing up this game to tell a story. Like no part of none of these paths seem like a good way to tell the story. So I don't know, Jeff, if this seems plausible to you, but it seems like Sony still have a bunch of live service games they fucking commissioned and are trying to, I don't know, shepherd along, despite the fact that trend is clearly in decline.
Well, this one, I actually looked up Firewalk, and I don't think they've made anything but this. I think this is their first game, and they said they were founded in 2018. So it's very possible that this is like the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League type of thing, where they started work on this 5 years ago, and now it's coming into a market where there isn't really as much gas for this sort of thing as there used to be. But if it's done, if it's 99% complete, then like you wouldn't shelve it. You just go ahead and put it out and see if it manages to do anything. So,
I mean, yes. And these are like Bungie Destiny veterans.
Right. So I mean, like, it could be good. It could be good. I don't know. There's going to be a beta in July, and then it comes out in August. And I like the style. I'm a little run down on the concept. So, but maybe it'll turn out to be, it's one of those things where you look at it and you're like, I don't think so. And then it comes out and you're like, hey, I was wrong. This is great. Like, I was very iffy about Stellar Blade, and then I ended up really liking Stellar Blade. Like, there have been several games where I've looked at the trailers and gone like, and then they come out, I'm like, oh no, I really like this. So I don't know, maybe. Maybe. Let's see, God of War Ragnarok is coming to the PC. This is just, cool. It's kind of what ultra wide support, unlocked frame rates, got all the DLC, it's DLSS, etc., coming out in September.
How do you feel about the fact that Sony seemed to have a pretty consistent flow of sending these games to PC after they've been out, a year or two?
I think it's fine. I wish they would put them out. I mean, I understand why they won't. But I wish they would put them out day and date on PC. Like, I don't really.
No, come. That's not the question I asked you, Jeff. Come on.
I have no. I think it's a good thing. I think that I don't necessarily dig on the exclusivity thing, and I like the idea that that more people can play these games in more places. Because the exclusivity stuff makes less and less sense as time goes on. Let's see. From there, we got a new Dynasty Warriors game. This is Dynasty Warriors Origins.
I was on the PlayStation Store a few months ago thinking like, didn't they make it a Dynasty Warriors?
Well, I thought
Dynasty Warriors.
I thought the last one was like hated. like Dynasty Warriors 6 or something like that was like people really disliked it.
I thought we were at like 8 or 9.
Oh, we could be. I don't know.
What is this one? Oh, this is not a numbered one, I guess, huh?
Yeah, this is like before all the Dynasty Warriors that you knew.
Wait, no, but how are you going to do a prequel? Okay, no, fuck off. How are you going to do a prequel in a series that is a historical period piece?
I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Dynasty Warriors 9 in 2018 was the last one.
Okay. Wow. I guess they've really been making fucking bank on all those licensed Dynasty Warrior games, I guess. Like, Strikers and
Hyrule Warriors.
Hyrule Warriors.
There were the Gundam ones back in the day. The Fist of the North Star, I think, had one. I don't know.
Yakuza. I bet they could make a good Yakuza one.
Yakuza Dynasty Warriors.
Yakuza Dynasty Warriors for sure.
Kiryu is just not beating up enough guys on the street. Now there's like 50 guys that are coming at him.
Get a third guy. So you got Kiryu and Ichiban. Get a third guy who does like capoeira. And so it's all like, these sweeping area of effect moves.
Yeah. I've never been really down with the Dynasty Warriors. I mean, some of the spin-off games, but even I think the Hyrule Warriors was the closest I got to actually liking, to sticking with one of them. But I always just kind of get tired of the, it's interesting for the first couple hours killing 60 guys with one combo, but eventually it starts to get a little tiresome. But
yeah, I feel like it gets too complicated. I want to be let loose on a battlefield. And I click my button, and guys fly up in the air with sparks and fireworks. And I want to do that for about the rest of my entire fucking life. And I don't want to deal with picking territories and my troops. God, I don't want to deal with my troops.
Bryce, the enemy reinforcements have arrived. You need to go to the northwest corner of the map now.
Not even in-game stuff. Like maybe, and this is probably on me, but there's a Dynasty Warriors game that is not the fucking thing that we're looking at. There's a Dynasty Warriors game that's like Civilization or something. Because I downloaded it from the PlayStation Pass, from the PlayStation Game Pass, and I kept going like, where's the battles? Please let me battle. I don't want to do, Civ Rev. I want to slash guys. I got the wrong game, I guess.
Is that the Empires series?
Empires or Extreme, maybe?
Yeah.
One of those things, yeah. That's the oh, no, sorry. I'm getting ahead. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Good on you. I'm wondering where they've been, but give me more guys. More guys. This is not a complicated. More guys.
Okay, you heard it. Bryce says, give him more guys. That's what we're looking for.
A big field to kill many guys.
I'm going to hit the button one time, and they're all going to die.
This is in Sun Tzu. Give me a big field and a lot of guys, and I will throw them in the air.
Excellent. So next up, I don't know what to think about this. This is Infinity Nikki, which is like, I don't really know. It's like you're a little anime girl and you're doing dress up, and she's like enrolling in the fashion academy, and it looks like you're going to be switching outfits to get different powers, and then kind of running around this like bubbly like fantasy world with your little cat pal, solving puzzles, picking up currencies, turn into different stuff. Meanwhile, there's like multiple points in this trailer. There's like a photo mode that comes up, and it looks so adorable that I probably couldn't play it. Like it looks like it might be too cozy for me, even though there were parts where they showed like fighting a boss with magic, and the end of this trailer has like a little stinger with some like very sinister overtones to it. So I don't know if this is one of those like everything's wonderful and then it turns into a horror game 2/3 the way through. But the trailer is just a lot of like pretty dresses, little magical anime girls, and taking hot snaps of outfit. Bryce, the expression on your face. Have you seen this? Did you see this trailer by any chance?
No, this is all new to me. Ooh. It seems okay. It seems kind of girly. It seems kind of like a girly game. Mm-hmm. She literally goes from like a pink double pigtail magical girl into like a blonde double pigtail magical girl, and then you see her in a safari outfit, and like, so that's fine. Like, hey, look, like dress up games, paper dolls has a long history. Go get them. And like, it kind of, I don't know, the little bits of actual gameplay that we see here seem good, and the CG seems
that the characters are all nice looking.
Good. Yeah, like the fidelity is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Does it see, I can't hear it, and I haven't heard what the soundtrack is to this. Mm-hmm. Does it seem like it's targeted at perverts?
I don't know. I wouldn't know.
Because there's like a lot of the photography, like iconography going on. There's a lot of outfits, and like there's very much like a Barbie, like scene that it's setting up here. So, but I don't know if it's just like your usual like anime waifu sort of thing, or if it's a cozy character action game, because maybe that's all this is, and that's go for it. This could be the next Spyro. This could be the next generation Spyro the Dragon.
It could just be.
There's a Firefly.
It could just be a very cute third-person action-adventure game. I don't know. Again, like I said, there's this one little scene at the end where the main character is like meeting this lady that's like chained up with like ethereal chains. It looks like like the Barbie version of America from Elden Ring, but like not all busted up. And I'm like, wait, is there a dark mystery at the heart of this enchanting magical girl adventure? Because now you're talking my language. If turns out that there's a horrible under story here going on, but I don't know.
Fake princess.
I don't know. It's like what's that? Madoka Magica anime, the one where the magical girls, but then turns into like a horror anime.
Puella Magi.
Yeah.
Maybe is this some? I guess this would be a huge leap to make. This is like not related to Yume Nikki at all, right?
I don't think,
because that was like a RPG Maker pixel art game. It's not this like Unreal Engine ass humans looking thing.
Oh, this is a thing. Oh, this is a Japan thing. The Nikki series is a collection of dress-up games that's evolved over the course of 12 years. So, this is some kind of thing that's been around for a long time that we just don't know about.
Separate from, separate from Yume Nikki.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
good on you. Like then all the more. Right, like then it certainly looks like a doll franchise game.
Yep, is the fifth game in the Nikki Up to You #2 letter U series. So this is one of those franchises that is popular, probably in China, that we're just getting over here. I've never heard of it before, but.
Cool. Like it got a lot of screen time on the State of Play here.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. From there, we got the Ballad of Antara. This looks very Soulsy to me, kind of like a third-person action game with like they showed a bunch of different types of characters. And and different styles of like combat and monsters and stuff. At first, I was curious to know if this was like a Team Ninja game. It was giving me a little bit of that like Neo / those kind of games vibes, but nope, it looks like it's just a third-person action game in a kind of a Asian-inspired magical realm. A lot of like crazy-looking weirdos and monsters and stuff. Again, kind of like with the last one, looks really good. Like very good fidelity on the graphics and the combat, and it looks very exciting. This is one also that I'm hoping, this is more up my alley. Third-person action, single-player style game. So I don't think we know that much more about it, but what I saw, I liked quite a bit. So
yeah, this looks like a nice cinematic trailer. Are you? Do you feel like this is like a genre that is emerging, the like boss-centric action RPG, to avoid calling it to Souls-like?
Maybe. The thing is that I don't like, the problem here is that I look at this and I feel like this could be that, or it could be more akin to a third-person action game like Infinity Blade or Devil May Cry, or something that's a little bit faster, because it is pretty fast. It doesn't have that kind of plotting weight that you see in a lot of the more of the Souls-like games. But then it's also possible that it could just be a faster rendition of a Souls game, and that's why it looks so fast in the trailers. So
it looks, the moments that are like in action that seem like they're in-game moments, do look really nice. I think there's something to trailers where when you show gameplay and you don't have the HUD on screen, that everything looks really nice in a way that just doesn't come across when you play the games with the HUD.
Yep. Anyway, this could be good. Coming 2025. We got some PSVR games. Skydance's Behemoth. It's funny because this one looks like one of your just kind of standard medieval hack and slash VR games where they're going to give you a sword and then you're gonna hack up guys. But then there's also like giant titans to step on you. I don't know if you're going to be like climbing them like Shadow of the Colossus or anything like that, but I also know this is made by the company that made the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, which, as I understand it, is pretty well regarded in the VR game space. Also, when it comes to these giant titans, like, I think this is a very good use of VR, because the 3D, when you see something really giant in VR, it has a much bigger effect on you than just seeing it on the screen. So I don't know. I bought a PSVR 2 and then I don't really use it all that much, so I'm kind of excited to see that there's some stuff that could be good.
Yeah. Oh, we still got to do that Gran Turismo thing. We should do that. Let's remember to do that.
Fully immersive Gran Turismo. Your steering wheel, my PSVR.
That's right. I just got a new setup that the steering wheel is really good for. Yeah, this seems fine. Like this kind of, when like the iPhone and the iPad came out, like they always put Infinity Blade very, very forward early on in those, because they were just like, just go in a medieval environment and fucking slash guys, and that's all you do. And this kind of looks like that, and which is not to denigrate it. It looks like you got one simple thing, which is you're gonna go across the land and save everyone from this giant troll's foot. I kind of wish they didn't show you how you dodge it, because that actually looked fucking bad.
Oh, we just use the movement to kind of move out of the way a little bit.
Yeah. You know how a troll's foot will get a red shine in the eye of the bottom of the foot.
Let's see. And then also they had a very brief, this was announced a little while back, Alien Rogue Incursion, which just looks like yet another, okay, you got the motion tracker, you got the face huggers, you got the xenomorphs, you got the pulse rifle. I makes me wish that the iconography of Aliens wasn't so strong that every time there's of any video game, it's just that
same list of features. Yeah.
It's the same noise coming out of the motion tracker. It's the same noise coming out of the pulse rifle. It's the same smart gun, et cetera, et cetera. I wish they would do something a little different, but
has there been an Aliens VR game before? I guess like if you're like the Aliens guy, you're the guy at 20th Century who's got to do something with aliens every year. I guess what you do is fart out a VR game next, right?
Yeah,
we didn't do a VR game. Fart one, just see if Sony will give us money for a fucking VR game.
I don't know if there's been a Aliens VR game yet. I know I played Aliens Isolation as a mod on the Oculus DK2, and it was really, really scary. So I don't know. Maybe I've just been missing out. Or the thing to make it different than the generic just shooting aliens with the pulse rifle is the fact that like when you could see an alien coming directly at your face in VR, it's a lot scarier than if they're jumping towards the screen and you're like, take that, you son of a bitch, bah, or whatever. I don't know. At least they're not like the recent ones have either been online games or like tactics games, and so having just kind of an isolated first-person shooter where you're shooting aliens could be good.
Yeah, could be good.
You know, with that, I think we're gonna go ahead and take a break. Like it's break time. So we've got a little bit more state of play left to go, and then I'm gonna have to start cutting some stories because we're already over time. But stick around. We'll be right back with more in just a second. And we're back. And we got more state of play left to go. Next up, we got the announcement that Marvel Rivals is going to be coming to the PS5.
What is that?
Marvel's Overwatch thing that's being developed by, I think, NetEase or whatever. It's a third-person Marvel online hero shooter where you get to play as Venom or Magneto or the Spider-Man or everybody's favorite Adam Warlock.
We just took a break. We just stepped away for about 5 minutes. Jeff, did we just do a story about an Overwatch style hero based shooter game on play? Wasn't that the last game, the previous game they put out in the state of play? We didn't skip anything.
Nope.
They went from Guardians of the Galaxy to literally the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy. Cool.
Yep.
They got Spider-Man in this one.
Yeah, they got all the people that you want. I don't know. It's good that this is going to be coming to the PS5. This is another one where I'm like, it's possible that this could be fun, but it doesn't exactly super duper appeal to my specific gamer brain. So,
if it's free to play, here's the thing: free to play. There is a lot of competition, and Marvel is good at turning free to play around. Right? I feel like Marvel Snap is still a pretty steady thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you can have a free to play Marvel shooter that is fine, then I think you could make a game out of it, and it's a better idea than any of these like endless auto RPG games that they churn out and people cry about that they turn off.
Yeah.
That nobody actually played.
I don't know. There's going to be a beta in July. This is one of those ones. I've seen enough of it that it's like it could go either way. I just got to get my hands on it to know if it's fun or not. So
it really fucking looks like Overwatch.
Oh yeah, no. All the UI
really look like Overwatch.
Yeah, the UI, the character design style, like everything is very Overwatch.
Because Overwatch stole all of that shit in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
All of the very specific like superhero font. The italic sans serif block font.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool.
Yep. Let's see. From there, we have Where Winds Meet, which is like another kind of, it looks like kind of Souls-y third person Asian inspired kind of mythology monsters and stuff. The other one was a little bit less specifically Asian. It was kind of, it had some stuff that was a little different. This one looks a lot more like, again, a lot like the Team Ninja stuff that we've been seeing recently. I don't know. Again, this is one of those ones where it could definitely be fun.
I feel like the visuals on this are really nice. They've put together a nice look at this. But I think with games like this, assuming, these are either of those two games that you described, right? Either a Soulsy game or like a character action game.
Mm-hmm.
For either of those, really what gets me interested in those games is like, do you have an interesting mechanic? How does it play? What does it feel like, to be along for the ride, right? Is it a spectacle, or is it something where you like work at it and you really feel, relieved when you actually get a challenge? And maybe this isn't you just becoming a grumpy old man, but a trailer doesn't achieve either of those things, but you only get 2 minutes anyway. So
yeah.
Kind of barking just to bark, but it just makes me feel like, this seems fine, but this could also just be any number of forgettable games that just come out and languish away because ultimately they have a really good trailer and are just kind of generic hack and slash games.
Yeah. I feel like in the past it used to be that when they produced trailers, like a lot of times when you would see gameplay elements, you would see like the UI, like you were talking about. And nowadays it's like it's all dressed up so cinematically that it's like, well, this looks good. I like the art style. The graphics are good. The gameplay seems like it's very exciting, but I can't tell more until you because like basically my motto these days is just like, well, I've been burned too many times to get excited for something like this until you show me more of it. What is the story? What are the mechanics? What makes it different than anything else that's out there? Is it going to be fun, or is it going to be a challenge slog? Is it going to be, does it have a generic story where the gameplay is all right, but I just don't care what's happening in it? But
it seems like it has some interesting set pieces. Like, I like, it's good that it looks nice.
Yes.
I'm kind of waiting for like PS5 like exclusive like next gen games. Had it for a while now. But I spend 700 hours in a cross-gen Gran Turismo 7. So like, what's okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. From here, we kind of get into this is kind of standard stuff. Until Dawn is getting a PC / PS5 kind of remaster re-release. It's Until Dawn. It doesn't seem like it has anything different or new. It's mostly just taking that game and glowing it up a little bit and putting it out, which is good. I mean, Until Dawn's a good game, but I played it twice. I don't feel the need to play it anymore.
Do we know if this will be like how they did with The Last of Us, where it was like a new SKU basically, or is this like an upgrade for people who have Until Dawn? Maybe they haven't, and I don't know if they've.
I don't know if they've specified that yet. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, interesting. I have like 4 copies of Until Dawn, and I've never finished it.
It does kind of go on and 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 on, but
well, that's fine.
Yeah.
Cool. I guess they went and they made that whole they did go make a whole series of games like that, I guess.
Yeah, the Dark Pictures anthology. Yeah. Let's see. From there, we got a gameplay trailer for Path of Exile 2. I actually didn't realize Path of Exile 2 isn't even out on the PC yet. But it's funny because I bounced off of Diablo 4. It was just a little bit too just generic. I never really felt like I hit my stride with it. And Path of Exile, the first one was like, the free-to-play, like when Diablo 3 came out, Path of Exile was like the dark free-to-play Diablo on the PC, and has always gotten really good reviews. So I'm interested to see if that team can keep it up with Path of Exile 2. I like a good Diablo game. I just didn't care for the last one, and this one seems like it's got some interesting. It's it's very dark, very moody, but it seems a little bit campier, I guess, than the Diablo 4 did. So
yeah, it looks nice. I kind of wonder what, like, looking at this, it looks a lot like fucking Diablo.
Yep.
But it does look nice. It looks, high, nicely rendered. And I wonder what you do next with this type of genre visually, because like this looks good, and if you pull the camera out anymore, we're definitely gonna get like diminishing returns on how it looks. But anyway, we don't need that. We have a lot of news stories to talk about. Next topic.
Yep. Let's see. From there, we got a trailer for the Silent Hill 2 remake. There was also a Silent Hill like event that I didn't get a chance to get into. We'll probably talk about it next week, but I don't know. The thing is, this is one of those ones, Bryce, where I'm not a Silent Hill guy, but the people that are Silent Hill guys, boy, do they care about Silent Hill 2, and they care about it a lot. I do not really, I hate to say this, I do not really enjoy Bloober Team's games. I have tried most of them, and I did not really enjoy most of them. So I don't have a big emotional connection to Silent Hill, the universe, and I don't really like Bloober Team's games, and everybody seems mad at this game for a lot of reasons. So I don't know. It could end up being a big mess, could end up being the remaster that everybody wants. I have a feeling it's just going to end up being something that everybody complains about and says, no, it sucks, even though it's probably fine. But
so I'm kind of watching this blind, but I would say like this looks like an RE4 version of Silent Hill 2, and I don't know how anyone gets mad at any of that. Like if you want to go play the old Silent Hill 2, guess what? Emulators are on the iPhone now. Check them out. Google it sometime.
Yeah.
I like seeing new versions of this. I like when you talked about Bloober Team, I also thought, yeah, I don't like Amnesia games or the hide and watch out, and then you see a clip of James piping and hitting over the head with a lead pipe one of the nurse zombies.
Yeah, we're watering real close there.
And then you go, okay, so there's at least going to be a fucking shoot 'em up game in here. So I guess I'm fine with them doing Silent Hill 2 if it means they don't have to come up with some awful thing that they call Silent Hill 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I will say I was looking to see if they showed it at all in this trailer, but I did watch, like I said, a little bit of the Silent Hill transmission thing that they did, and I did notice that it was weird how you have like the pipe, right, that you were talking about that you can hit enemies with, and the animation for it just seemed like he would just kind of like it was all hit and no wind up, like it was all just like it was like bopping with this pipe, and then the person would fall down. So I don't know how much work is going to go into this before it comes out. But then again, I
wonder if because this is also third person over the shoulder. I wonder if Konami was like, make this VR compatible, make it ready to fucking staple on a VR mode.
Maybe.
Because that would be something, that would be a glitch regardless, but that would be something, that would be what that would look like if you had it weird, was you would have an animation like that just start immediately because you're responding to a different kind of reaction.
Sure.
I don't know, but that's getting conspiratorial here. When it's a Konami published title, who knows what corners they have to cut.
Yeah. And that's coming October 8th. And then we got a couple quick things before we wrap up. The Monster Hunter Wilds, we finally got a full-on gameplay trailer. This was teased at the Game Awards last year. They had a really underwhelming little look at the game that was mostly just monsters walking around. This one is much more story focused. It shows hunting monsters. I'm appreciative of the fact that one of the characters is using the giant sword, which is what I used in Monster Hunter. And most of the trailer seems to be them getting hit while they're trying to wind up this huge attack, which is something that I very much identify with. Does
this get you going?
Okay, I really liked the Switch Monster Hunter game, and I got really into it. I played like lot of that game, but the one that this is a sequel to, Monster Hunter Worlds, that's the more realistic looking one, I didn't play that one, and I wasn't really quote unquote into Monster Hunter when that one came out, so this would be like the first one of these that I give a real college try, understanding the way that the world and the mechanics and the combat and everything work. I'm a little mad that the Palamutes aren't here, because you got your own dog that you could customize and ride around in the Switch game, and I loved that. But I do think that the monsters look real nice. They're very detailed. They've got big old spikies and slimies and tongues, and it'll be interesting to see, though, since it's a Capcom game and it's probably done on RE Engine, whether this works better than Dragon's Dogma did, because that was an open world game that like kind of stressed out the RE Engine. But then I hear that
was all like the towns that made Dragon's Dogma tough with on loading.
It was like the CPU load on like simulating NPCs. So hopefully this one will be able to run better. I don't know. I mean, like, I
got guns in Monster Hunter now.
Oh, they've had them for a while. Yeah, there's like repeater guns and then like big howitzer style guns, and I mean the whole thing with Monster Hunter is there's like 12 different weapon types, and they all completely changed the way the game is played. So you have big slow swords, you have like fast daggers, you got swords and shields. So, but this is a lot better than what they showed off at the Game Awards, because it was very simplistic. It was just brown monsters running through a brown desert between brown rocks, and here we're seeing, funky characters and interesting backstories and some big old guys that look real disturbing when they come and try to attack you. So
they all have this like zombie mutated look. They look like a fictional beast that's like then been radiated,
infected with something, or mutated.
And then there's like a cut to some guys.
Yep. I mean, the previous one had this big story, so I mean, I think they've all kind of had some kind of narrative to them. And the Switch one was the first one where I felt like they really optimize the hell out of it. Like, instead of having to buy pickaxes every time you want to mine a resource, it's like, no, just walk up to the resource and hit A, you'll get it. It's fine. You don't have to restock pickaxes or whatever. So, yeah, so I'll give it a shot. I don't know. Have you ever monstered the hunted the monsters? It's a lot to get into, right?
It is a lot. There's a lot of systems that you have to get used to that are just different from other traditional types of game systems that I'm used to. So I've heard that they've sanded down some of the corners on how rigid that game can be in recent titles, but at the moment I've got some other pseudo service games that I'm more interested in.
Okay. And then last but not least, definitely not least, this is probably the thing that I was most excited about for the entire thing. There's going to be a new Astrobot game. Yeah. Yay. I really liked
Finally.
Astro's Playroom. This one seems like it's kind of got that similar, like, it's a game about how the PlayStation controller is how you fly between areas, and there's like a shot here where they show armadas made of like PS5s as ships that are flying the Astrobots throughout the galaxy. They showed a lot of the like little cameo stuff where they show like Nathan Drake but an Astrobot, and then Kratos but he's an Astrobot. These games are charming as hell. I love them so much. Even though when I was watching the trailer, I was like, oh yeah, this is just like it looks like a generic third-person action game. And I was like, yes, but then when you play it, it's so charming that you're just like, I can't help it.
Yeah, it is a third-person act. Like, it's a good one of those. Like,
yeah.
I'm so excited for this. It feels like another chance where Sony's been a little slow at leaning into a cool character, right? I think with what was that Papercraft game, like Unfold or something like that.
Yeah.
Like with that, or with Sackboy, kind of got slotted into that, but like the Astro Boy's Playroom or Astro's Playroom was great. And I hope that this game is good and like really meaty, because it's been a minute. I just think it's really slow for this game to have come out, because I want it immediately and it looks good.
Well, the last one was like what, 5 hours or so, 5 or 6 hours to just do absolutely everything in the game.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was fun, but it was a snack, and so you're like, I'm still hungry, give me more.
Yeah. And like, for all of the reasons in this trailer, like, you could do a bunch of different things here. So I'm kind of glad to see it just be a generic platformer, because we could use a good one of them if we're gonna bump them out.
Yeah. That was the state of play. There was some, this was September 6th of this year that Astrobot game is coming out. So I'm happy for that. There was a few things in here. Some I was more excited about than others, mostly the single player games that we were talking about. The re-releases of existing PS5 games. I've already played those. Live service online shooter games, I'm not as interested in those. Remakes like Silent Hill 2, I'll give it a shot. But mostly for me, it was the stuff that we could do as a single player experience. It was the most exciting stuff for me. So, okay, with that, we've got news stories. We do have more news stories. I cut a whole bunch of them, and we're gonna have to do this kind of lightning round style, because we got about 25 minutes to get through these tabs here.
That's lightning.
Is that lightning? So there was a little bit, speaking of PlayStation, there was a little bit of controversy last week in that Sony put up an interview with Neil Druckmann talking about just kind of development for the PlayStation, and one of Druckmann's answers was was referenced using AI, saying, in reviewing our recent interview. Oh no, wait. What was that's the
update?
Yeah, that's the update. In the initial interview, let's see. AI is really going to revolutionize how content is being created, although it does bring up some ethical issues we need to address. With technologies like AI and the ability to do motion capture right from home, we're reducing both costs and technical hurdles, opening the door for us to take on more adventurous projects and push the boundary of storytelling in games. This evolution is truly empowering creators to bring their visions to life without the traditional obstacles. Anybody who is listening to this, everybody knows right now, like, the general sentiment is kind of anti-AI. We're not super excited right now about the idea of just having all our stuff written and produced by ChatGPT. They also had a second part kind of towards the end. So anyway, there's an update to this. Towards the end, Druckmann had a part where he was talking about how this is probably the best game they're going to put out, and how it was, it's going to push the boundaries, it's going to do a lot of different stuff. Well, after this came out, there was some pushback. Neil Druckmann went on Twitter and basically said that, like, Sony had given a much longer answer in this interview, in that final question. And here's
If I look stumped, Jeff, it's because that quote's fucking not in there at all.
You mean like what they edited? Well, okay. So this was comparing
9% of it. If I was a plagiarism bot, it would get a passing mark, because fucking none of it is what they said he said.
It's been so edited. Like, if you compare this block of text to what came up there, it's
assuming like that is what this is. Yeah.
So this is the final question, and this was put up into as like an example of that Sony took his interview where he had these very long answers and then chopped them into snappier answers, but chopped them so hard that they basically don't resemble what was originally said anymore.
Like very internal PR. Like, just talk to this guy and we'll figure it out, and you'll give the okay, and we'll put and like. Yeah.
Here's an example. So here's this was on the Sony website. I've been lucky to work on several dream projects, and I'm currently excited about a new one, which is perhaps the most thrilling yet. And then the unedited thing says, well, I've been very lucky in that I've already had that. I got the chance to make several of my dream projects. I'm working on a new one right now, and it's maybe the most excited I've been for a project yet. They took 4 sentences and condensed them into one sentence, which like... So this interview has been taken down. Like, it's fully not there, and Sony has issued an apology saying that they feel like they took the comments out of context by shortening all of these answers into these snappier things that basically removed a lot of the context. The thing I can't find, the thing I think is really missing, is that people seemed like they were most upset about this AI answer, and that is not... We don't have the unedited answer for that question. The only one that we have is for this final statement. So I think a lot of people are like, well, okay, so you were taken, your words were condensed. What all did you say about using AI? Because that's the part that people were mad about, not this final paragraph about like my dream project and bridging the gap and getting everybody into games, this kind of puffy final answer. It was the AI thing that people were upset about, and that Sony, by just taking down the whole thing, I think they're just looking to avoid it, because I don't think they expected, whoever was doing this didn't expect there to be this pushback on that specific point. So
it's to me, this just like seems like a sloppy PR job. Like, he did that interview, someone chopped it up, and he said, "Yeah, looks good, push it, whatever."
Yeah.
I mean, I have some thoughts on AI, but it's not the biggest deal for me.
Well, I think that I really wish that they would have put out that full answer, because when I look at how this was truncated, like, it's possible that what he's saying is like maybe there's a lot more in there where he's addressing the ethical concerns of AI and saying, like, this has the ability to take drudge work that was hard and tedious and bad, and to use an AI to assist for it, but we always need to make sure that it's not going to be affecting, the team, the relationships, the quality of the work, et cetera, et cetera. It could have been that there was a much more nuanced answer in there, but by just taking the whole thing down, it's like, we don't know. So I don't know.
Yeah, I could get wildly irresponsible.
Yeah.
In response to that.
Yeah. Let's see. In other Sony news, Stellar Blade has new sexy outfits. Bryce, what's interesting is that they added 2 new sexy outfits, or they added a handful of sexy outfits to Stellar Blade.
Are all of her outfits this leotard one-piece swimsuit style?
No, there are some that look like actual clothing that a person might sort of wear. Yes,
and legs. Okay.
Yes. So, but the thing is, I don't think you were around these when the original game came out and they had the controversy. These 2 outfits are recolored versions of the 2 outfits that were quote unquote censored in the original release. This one on the right with the red had like a top put underneath it so that there was less booby cleavage, and this one that's like a dominatrix swimsuit had a bunch more straps put in the middle so you didn't see as much of the cleavage. So they've essentially put out kind of unedited versions of the sexy outfits that got edited
and called them a special color. Okay.
And this is free. It's not paid DLC or anything. when we talked about this, or when I talked about this, when I thought about this, is I played this game. This game is full of bikinis and lingerie and all kinds of sexy outfits. I don't understand why you would censor any of it in the first place. You already have, you could just put her in a bikini. So, like, what's the point of putting a modesty shirt on underneath the boob window outfit when you've already got, sexier outfits? So
all good ending. Good ending. Because we got everyone got exactly what they asked for.
Sort of.
Good golly. You can see up her entire canyon.
I said when I played this game, I made a joke that I spent like half the game looking for an outfit that didn't make her look like a cyber stripper, because you might want to see what she had for lunch, but I don't. So I finally found a pair of mom jeans, and I was like, there you go, honey. Put some pants on. So mostly people are happy. Some people are sticking to their dumb guns that, like, no, you need to uncensor the other stuff, and anything outside of full and complete capitulation to what we want out of this game, or what we want is horrible draconian censorship, and you should all be ashamed of yourselves, and this is the worst thing that's ever happened. So
okay, so
are you trying to spot the difference in this the difference between
yes. There isn't one. They're not the same, like, framing. So she's. Oh shit! Oh no, she got her whole hula. Wait, what?
Okay, so this is in the 1.0 version. She has this skirt that is basically transparent in the front. In the 1.03, it was made more opaque, and then her underwear was made smaller. There is underwear there, Bryce, even though it doesn't look like. Bryce is zooming in on the pixels.
No, that's Bush, Jeff. Fuck you. That's Bush. That's not.
Bryce, okay. This is what I want you to know. 1.0.
Isn't this what you freaks wanted?
This is acceptable. 1.03. This is unacceptable. Do not.
But that's more. It looks. What the fuck are we talking? Shut. This is not. No. No. I'm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sometimes you realize that you're playing tug of war with your dog a little too hard. I'm going to go in my car and operate heavy machinery now. Excuse me, I've got thumbs to deal with.
Yeah, I think I'm on the side of the quote unquote anti-censorship people because of what you're seeing here with this 360, like, she's barely wearing any clothes. You can see it all. Why bother censoring any of it if this is what's in the game right now? Who cares? It's obviously a sexy booby game that's also near Automata. Just let these guys have whatever. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. But so take the win, you guys. You got the thing. So more exciting to me is the fact that apparently in the next round of backwards compatible games that are coming to PS Plus, we're getting some PS2 games. So we're getting Tomb Raider, one of the, what is it? Tomb Raider Legend, Star Wars The Clone Wars, and Sly Cooper The Thievius Raccoonus on June 11th. These are just straight up PS2 games. They'll be running in emulation, not as a streaming thing or whatever, but on the PS5 hardware. This excites the hell out of me because there are a lot of PS2 games that I want to play that I cannot play right now because the emulation doesn't entirely work for it. Yes. So I hope that this is the beginning of a big back catalog of PS2 games that have been kind of trapped in that area for a long time. So
yeah, and like I don't love the idea of like buying all of my PS2 games again versus like having, some sort of fucking disc reader app thing that would just read the fucking DVDs of the discs. You already know what's written. Anyway, that's whatever. But I don't like the way that it just gets piecemealed out. Like, it's only now where we're we've had PS2 titles on PS4 and PS5 for years, and it's always just been little drips. Like, if you're gonna do it, like, open the floodgates and like put them all up there. Do get I obviously I know what I'm saying. I'm asking for a lot here, but like it wouldn't feel so bad if it was more than, you know, some of the good Tomb Raider games from the PS2.
Mm-hmm. Give me the app. Let me download the emulation app and then put my PS2 disc into my PS5 and run it through your emulator, as opposed to releasing 2 games at a time.
Or put up hundreds of games at a time.
Yeah.
You know, because if you don't do either, it just kind of seems like you're falling asleep on that regard. When, you know, I feel like Xbox has done a lot of heavy lifting on backwards compatibility.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let's see. We also got this was I believe a Korean patent for the Sony PlayStation VR2 PC adapter. This was something that had been rumored for a while, but the idea that you can take a PSVR 2 and then plug it into a PC and use it as a PC VR device would make that device a lot more useful to me, because I could play it with Steam VR games instead of just the PSVR titles. So I would get access to backwards compatible, or, you know, to all the stuff that's on Steam VR right now, Half-Life Alyx, and all the stuff that isn't currently on the PSVR 2.
All of that stuff seems like such a fucking mess. All the VR stuff seems like a fucking mess.
Yeah.
Godspeed, Jeff.
I just want to play Half-Life Alyx. That's all I want to do. And I don't want to buy a Valve headset, and I own the Sony headset. Just let me give you $50 for an adapter and let me play it already. Come on. Let's see. Helldivers 2, speaking of Sony, is starting to kind of lose its player base a little bit after all the stuff that's happened. The last few major, what do they call them? Like major orders have not been completed. And those major orders a lot of time will then unlock new guns and material for the players. So by not completing those orders, they're basically like not getting new fun toys to play with, which then will make people frustrated. So then they will leave the game, so that there are fewer people. So then the next major order can't be completed, et cetera, et cetera.
They're not fudging it? Why wouldn't they just fudge it?
They didn't have to until very recently. I think that they had
just like fudge. I don't know, like.
Yeah,
just fudge it. Like if you're gonna say like, yeah, we have to have X, Y, or Z victories, or X, Y, or Z happen in the story of these wars going on.
Mm-hmm.
Just fudge it. You have enough fires that you've had to put out lately. Just fucking fudge it.
Yeah,
like no one will know. Just tell the story.
I don't know if they were ready for, you know, because they were going at a pretty decent clip, but like surely somebody at that company was ready for, like, you guys know Helldivers 2 isn't going to be the hot new thing forever, right? Like something new is going to come out. Your player base is going to dip. You're going to need to fudge it at a certain point. You need to lower the requirements. You're going to need to let the player base have it. Of course, that player base is so psycho that I don't know. I feel like they might get mad if you let them have it, if they didn't actually complete the order and then you gave them the thing anyway, that they might get mad and boycott the game again, because it seems like the Helldivers 2 player base isn't happy about anything ever, all the time. So,
oh, you mean a game about eternal war has a bunch of frustrated young gamers angry at people who profit off of the designing of war, Jeff? It's kind of a no win. But I mean, yeah, this is why I'm saying they should just fudge it. Like, chances are no one would have noticed. And if they noticed, guess what? Now you have a reason to do more of the cool stuff that you do, where you use the PR and the storytelling of the game to make a positive out of their many blatant negatives lately.
Yeah. Let's see. On the Microsoft side of things, we have full confirmation that Black Ops 6 is going to be on Game Pass. This will be the first Call of Duty game that is fully on Game Pass. I this is weird. Apparently this was a thing where the mobile app, somebody turned on a notification on the mobile app that said like, hey, make sure to pre-install Black Ops 6. It's coming in, blah, 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 blah. And then Microsoft had to kind of come out and say like, yes, it is coming to Game Pass. It's going to be on there. I am a little flabbergasted on this because that's a huge chunk of Black Ops sales that you're not going to get $70 for. You're going to get the subscription fee for. And I feel like a lot of the current stuff seems to indicate that the Game Pass may not be working out financially for Microsoft as well as they keep insisting on it, where, you know, for $120 a year, I'm getting multiple $70 video games on the day they come out. Like, your numbers have to be pretty high to make that difference. So
yeah, so it's $17 a month, just so that I actually like have an understanding of what Game Pass costs.
I think that's Game Pass Ultimate for both.
Yeah, that's like the both one.
Yeah,
it's either, because then there's like the $10 half season one, but what would be better? Right? Like just releasing Call of Duty as a platform, and every year you ask people to give you, you know, $70 over the course of the year, once a year or every half a year, whatever. Or you just get the game in Game Pass. Like, hell, you get some of the EA subscription stuff, the EA Play, with Xbox Game Pass, and that includes the high level of that EA stuff, includes all of the yearly games, Madden, FIFA or FC, nay FIFA, the F1 games. Like, you get all of those games in the EA version of that. So I don't think it's impossible to say that will cannibalize players, especially because I have to assume that they understand that Call of Duty seems like a muddled, confusing brand. There is a free to play Call of Duty. There's your Black Ops and your Modern Warfare, your Future Warfare, and World War II Fare, and I'm not, as you can tell, not studied in Call of Duty.
You're not super well versed,
right? But Call of Duty is such a big thing where if you can move enough people over to Game Pass, keep them on Game Pass, especially because, hey, you need Game Pass for multiplayer anyway. And if we're Microsoft and we're just going to eat the $70 up front and get you for skins or blind boxes or battle passes, then, you know, for a number of people, it'll be a wash. For a number of players, you'll get that money back because they keep Game Pass around for 6 months or so. I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's crazy. But I could see them say like this, you won't get this on the $10 Game Pass. You have to be on the Pro, or like I could see that having like a tier.
The other thing, I think I mentioned this in a previous podcast where it's like, I also don't know if they've done the math and it turns out that the actual profit on Call of Duty is microtransactions, DLC skins and battle passes. And so that's where you make 90% of the money is on people doing microtransactions. So sure, give them the base game and they'll be more apt to then give you money for a Skeletor skin as opposed to the game itself. So
I did not look into any of these trailers or any of the news on this. Will this have a story mode? Will this have a single player mode?
Yes, it does. Okay. We'll be going over that in the trailers.
Okay. Well, then I expect that campaign to be short.
Let's see. We also found out that Black Ops 6 is still going to be on the PS4 and the Xbox One. Which means that this is actually the longest amount of time that it's going backwards compatible, because the last one was I think they said what Ghosts was the cutoff when they stopped doing the PS3, Xbox 360 versions. So it was only the PS4 versions, and so this is the number of Call of Duties that have released is like one more than the previous record. So this will be the longest amount of time that it's still been backwards compatible, which is good because apparently there was like a there was a survey or something that was done a little while back that shows for PlayStation users, like more than half are still on the PS4. That the vast majority of the audience hasn't upgraded yet just because of the limited availability for so long, that a lot of people have just stuck with the previous one because it can play so much of the stuff they want to play. So,
which is a whole longer conversation, but I want more. I would like some games that I want to play.
Mm-hmm.
I like fucking indie and little puzzle games, so they're not exactly CPU burners. But I want to be impressed. Impress me. You can impress me.
All right, we're going to have to do some of this super lightning style, and I think we're going to do a few more of these when we come back. So Rainbow Six has opened up a $10 a month membership subscription, speaking of subscription services, for their Battle Pass and a bunch of extras. People are not happy, but if you're a fan of Rainbow Six Siege, you're probably going to end up paying that anyway. I don't know enough about Rainbow Six Siege to say that for sure, but...
okay.
Too many battle passes, guys. Too many subscription services. You're wearing people out.
I mean, it's at the Damascus convention. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Steam recently clarified that if you... it's so weird. If you die, you can't bequeath your Steam library to your next of kin. This is against the terms of service, as is sharing your username or password with anybody. So if you've got a huge Steam library, unfortunately, unless you're willing to break the terms of service and give somebody your password, Bryce, you can't give it to the next your next of kin, which is strange. I think they should. I guess something we haven't had to think about yet is that, like, with this all digital thing, that is an asset. I paid for it. I should be allowed to pass it down, right? Like, yeah. I spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on my Steam library. That shouldn't just all go away. If I specifically take the time to say I want to give it to somebody else. So
yeah, I agree. Or and they word it so that it's like, a lot of Steam stuff is very like wink and nod, like, whatever, just use a passcode and it'll be fine. We're not going to really check your birth date and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You're going to get me emotional. I don't know. They should, I don't know. That
there should be some language that allows something.
Do something.
Yeah, something.
Facebook does something. I don't know.
Speaking of Steam, EA has recently removed their login service from the game It Takes Two, and it's also been certified as Steam Deck compatible. This has unfortunately had a weird knock-on effect where if you were using EA's service for your cloud saves for It Takes Two are gone. And then EA's way of fixing this through their helpline is they just give you 100% unlocked save file and say, just pick the level that you were on when you stopped.
Just play from there.
And just play from there. So
perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
100%. No notes. Let's see.
Don't fuck it up. Okay, can't turn back time. That's fine.
We do have full confirmation now, or at least more confirmation than we had before, that there's going to be a medieval themed Doom prequel game at the Xbox Showcase coming up in like a week. So this has been roundly leaked for quite some time, that it's called, what is it called? Doom the Dark Ages, and it's going to be about the medieval action of the Doom Slayer before all the stuff that happens in Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. So
I don't want anything out of Doom, but I definitely don't want that. Let's do a medieval Doom. Like, it's already medievally. It's already got the dungeons and hell stuff.
They kind of painted themselves into a corner with like the way the Doom Eternal ends. No, like you get to destroy all of like Cyber Heaven, and you fight the devil at the end of that game. So it's kind of probably they were going to have to go back somehow because there probably wasn't a lot of places to go forward. But I don't know. I guess we'll find out on June 9th.
How does the franchise hit into a dead end plot after 2 games? I don't know.
They shoved everything into those 2 games. Speaking of sequels, third sequels, there was a Dragon Quest III remake that Square announced back in 2021, and they just recently put out a very small, like, kind of Twitter teaser for it. But people have noticed that very specifically, it's now called The Legend of Erdrick, and the Dragon Quest III has been taken off of the logo, so people are speculating that this is going to be all 3 of the first Dragon Quest games, as opposed to just Dragon Quest III, because it's all being remade in the kind of that 2.5D Octopath Traveler style, which I don't know. Rampant speculation, but
someone write this down and email it into the show as a question for the show, because this is a good idea and we don't have the time to do it. When do you think a big name publisher or developer dedicates a studio or dedicates an arm of studios to remaking and maintaining their legacy games? There are so many of these, like these Dragon Quests and old Final Fantasies, the Tomb Raider games. Like everything is being remade and reported because everybody wants to play these old great games again. Mm-hmm. But that takes away studios from like making new games. Anyway, write that into, what's that email address again, Jeff?
mail@rageselect.com.
Word for word, exactly what I said, and we'll answer it a future show, maybe.
And with that, I think we're going to go ahead and take a break. We got a lot of trailers and stuff to go over still, and we've got a few news stories to zip through when we come back, but they're all pretty breezy. So stick around, and we'll be right back with the breeziness.
And it.
We're back, and it's the home stretch, Bryce. It's the home stretch. We got a few more things left to go, so yeah, let's get to it. First off, this is one of those things where I'm teasing myself, but there was an interview with Miyazaki where he was asked about the Armored Core franchise, and he said, we have a strong will to continue it in the future. I believe Armored Core 6 was a success. There's still room for improvement, so I have no intention of stopping there, which makes me hope that once they get the DLC for Elden Ring out, that we'll get the Armored Core 6 2 the same way that all the other Armored Cores have like a remix version. They have like the numbered version and then a remix version. But
I would consider if they had a meaty DLC instead of that. Mm-hmm. So seemingly like what they're doing for Elden Ring, right? Where it's like its own whole campaign expansion thing. Like that game would be perfect for it. Maybe go back to some of the existing stages, build new stages, show us a different time period on the planet. Like, I'm down for it.
Pre-fires. What if it was just DLC where you played the entire game as a Guazu?
Sure, yeah.
It's people who have played the game.
Guazu's saga.
Right. And then it becomes even worse. It becomes even more tragic.
Live the tragedy.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Or Rusty. I guess you could probably do. There's a lot of stuff going on with Rusty where you could have a whole expanded thing for it. Anyway, I don't know. I feel like I was trying to think about how like I love FromSoft so much, but everybody has a different FromSoft baby. So there would be people that would be incredibly pissed off that there was Armored Core 6 Part 2 and not Bloodborne 2 or Dark Souls 4 or Elden Ring 2 or Shadow Tower 3 or Kingsfield. In other good news for me, this is from a leaker who has a good track record, who's saying that in the RE remake sphere that Capcom's next remake is going to be both Zero and Code Veronica, which, if true, is very exciting for me because those are some of the Resident Evils I'm least familiar with, and I have always wanted to see a remake of Code Veronica because I've never actually played that game, and so to be able to see like how that fits into the story would be something that I would be really interested in. So after RE4, instead of going to RE5, which would maybe have some difficulty, and
I mean, like a modern-ish kind of like you get in, that's like a PS3 game.
Yeah,
like
or like a Dreamcast. I thought Veronica was like a Dreamcast era. Or is
RE5?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was talking about Code Veronica.
Oh no, I'm talking about 5.
Yeah. So even though I would kind of be interested to see if they went back and redid 6, but good. I think that there's interesting stuff in 6 if they would just were able to work on it a little bit more. So,
didn't I just see that they're gonna remake the first Resident Evil again, or did I read something wrong?
I from this story in that Twitter thread, they said that the original Resident Evil would not be getting a remake, at least not right now. That they're focusing on some of the other ones.
Okay. So that was a rumor that this is debunking. Great.
Yes.
Love
yes. It. And then that rumor was then also backed up by a second source. I mean, of course, you can't like trust any of this stuff as gospel, but these are people with pretty good track record. So, and it would make sense for them to go with something safer like Code Veronica that they could just do without the potential minefield of RE5 remake. So,
yeah. Yes, lightning round.
And then the last news story before we get into the trailers, we do now have specific confirmation that the Intercept Studios Kerbal Space Program 2 developers, most of them are going to be laid off at the end of June. This was reported through a thing that has to be published in the state of Washington called a worker adjustment and retraining notification. But then Strauss Zelnick came out and was like, we didn't say that we were closing the studio. We were doing readjustments, but nobody said that studio is going to be closed. Well, a bunch of the actual people who work there are now on LinkedIn looking for a job and making statements that seem like, yeah, that studio is going to be, if it's not going to be shut down, there's going to be like 3 people left there. It's not going to be a fully working studio at the end of this. Like people high up are leaving. So, which is a shame. Also, though, I wanted to shout out, I was looking at the stuff last week, and there's a YouTuber called Shadow Zone that did a really deep dive into the full development history of Kerbal Space Program 2 and kind of how it was mismanaged in a lot of ways that were not just Take-Two's fault. That like apparently nobody in that entire team had any contact with the people that made KSP1, and their starting point was somebody just handed them the entire source code for KSP1 and said, there you go, without anybody to reference it or whatever. And that was like spaghetti code that they had been bracketing expansions onto for years and years and years. So but this is a good watch. I recommend everybody go check it out because it's got a lot of good information in it. So
nice. I'm putting it on my list.
Yeah. Let's see. We also got a leak. Speaking of leaks, we got a leak that the next crossover with Call of Duty is going to be Fallout, of all things. This was an image that was data mined that shows the operators of Call of Duty all dressed up in Vault Tech suits, one of them with a gun that is specifically the kind of blue and gold Vault Tech color scheme. I think these look kind of silly, but then I've thought a lot of what's happening in the Call of Duty space has been silly. You know, Cheech and Chong, that was silly. Gundam, I think, looks stupid. They put out a trailer that shows the Gundam suits. I'm like, I think that looks silly, but hey, we're living in a multiverse world where everybody's got to cross over with everything else all the time, even if it makes no fucking sense whatsoever.
I'll say this. I'm reminded of the idea that like superheroes costumes, you know, usually that form-fitting like spandex, the bodysuit thing, is like veiled male nudity, and that's just been like an acceptable way of showing off the male body nude or semi-nude for decades across mediums. And then I look at these Call of Duties where these guys are like in these little blue suits, because like yeah, there are guns in Fallout, but like no one cares about the suits. The suits aren't the thing with the game. You just want to see these guys have big pecs. You want to see them go to the gun show, sure. But like, you don't need to call it Fallout. Like, okay, we're all on the same page here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Speaking of Call of Duty, we did get a couple of fresh or some new kind of teasers for Black Ops 6. We got this one that's called Open Your Eyes. That's a bunch of kind of 90s like TV looking stuff, commercials and stuff, and then it kind of fades into I've actually seen this before. There was a band that did this. I was talking to the Discord about it, called the Emergency Broadcast Network in the 90s, where like they're cutting together individual phrases from a lot of like politician speeches and commercials and stuff to have kind of a secret message about how, like, you know, because this is a Gulf War era thing, and I think the concept is that you're playing as a special operator that is doing things during the first Gulf War in the 90s, behind the scenes, you know, in a Call of Duty way. So it's interesting because it's got, everybody keeps telling me the 90s are back, and as somebody who loves the 90s and was a teenager in them, I don't see it. I don't see the aesthetic. Nope. I don't see, because it's a real specific thing. This though gave me real big 90s energy.
Should have, so yeah.
So
it will open your eyes, Jeff. Take a look around. The 90s is all the way back.
But then they had a second one. This one was really interesting. This is a live action trailer, and it's these black and white vignettes of different people talking, and it's these people that are lookalikes for Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Colin Powell, Margaret Thatcher, and Saddam Hussein, all kind of in the shadows talking about the Gulf War and duty and calls that are dutiful and dutiful calls.
Oh my God.
And they got a lot of, like, they're not perfect, but a lot of people who look strikingly good. I don't know if they're doing some deep fake adjustments, or if they just found really good like lookalikes, or if it's prosthetics, but it looks real good. And then it ends with the kind of guy in the quote unquote Black Ops pose, the sitting with the arms on his knees. And then of course
the Slav squat.
Yeah. June 9th, we're going to get the whole thing. I don't know. And I feel like in the last Black Ops, right, we were taking orders from President Reagan, and
does this do it for you? Are you a Call of Duty guy, or because I know that like there are still plenty of Call of Duty people. I mean, you're going to get it as part of Game Pass. Are you going to hop in and see what it's like with all the normies?
I jumped off of the train a while back where I used to play the single player campaigns, but they've gotten a little bit too serious, and the thing that they're tapping into, like this stuff where it's like, ooh, isn't it cool that you're going to get a briefing from President Bill Clinton? And I'm like, no, I don't give a shit about that. I just give a shit about shooting people. But probably not. I'll see the last Black Ops I got maybe a third of the way into. That was the 80s one, and then decided, nah. And the Modern Warfare ones haven't done it for me, and the World War II one didn't do it for me. So maybe, but I kind of think that they're doing a lot of the same thing over and over again, and I liked it more when they were trying different stuff. Like Black Ops 2 had like a branching story path where you would make a choice in one mission, it would change what would happen. And I didn't even realize it was happening until I started talking to Jason about it, and he started describing stuff to me that I had never seen in the game, and I was like, oh shit. And then I like the space one a lot, even though nobody else did. But I don't know. I mean, as always, I'll give it a shot. If it hooks me, then it does, but it's not guaranteed anymore because Let's see. We got the full trailer for the new Battle Royale or new Fortnite chapter 5, Season 3, Wrecked. This is interesting because this is... they've taken the car stuff that they put in the game, and the new season is a real like Mad Max inspired thing where you get it's like cars. Everybody's in a car, and you've got like a wingman with a turret, and you're driving around, and all the cosmetics are kind of like Mad Maxy themed. They've got the Fallout power armor is in this one, which makes a little bit more sense, I think, because this is a little bit more wastelandy than Call of Duty. But I always appreciate the fact that Fortnite keeps trying new and different things. They keep trying out like, well, what if it was all vehicle combat this season? And they're like, okay, that's over. Now next season it's going to be ninja powers, and next season it's going to be cooking. They're always trying something interesting and different, and I like the fact that it seems to happen at a pretty quick pace too. It's like every 3 months here's something new in Fallout or in Fortnite that is not the same as the previous thing was. But
I wonder if it's because Fallout has an audience that they obviously have to, entertain day in and day out. And I haven't touched Fallout in a good long while, but
Fortnite. No, I'm doing the exact same thing.
I haven't played Fortnite in a good long while, but it seems like they've stuck pretty hard fast to really only having like 1 or 2 game modes at any given time. Mm-hmm. With the primary one being something like this, where you've got like a big bespoke, modifier for the season or something.
Yeah.
I think that's really fascinating because Fortnite comes at these modifications and these game design challenges of already having a fan base and having to manipulate the game enough to fit in all these things that players want to do, right?
Yeah.
Do emotes. They want to shoot guys. They want to drive around. How do you build new things, even if they're not fair? It doesn't matter because they'll be gone in a few. They can be gone in a few months,
right?
I think that is what's really fascinating looking at this, because this looks really comprehensive of a departure from a battle royale game. It's not the same.
It's different. It's specifically different. Like, it's not just a new coat of paint that it's like, okay, it's the same game, but it's wasteland themed now. It's like, no. It's cars now instead of just running around on foot. So,
like you can't complain that Fortnite is just a Battlegrounds ripoff, because it's ripping fucking everything off at this point.
Right. And it's doing it at a pace that I'm frankly amazed at. We also got the full launch trailer for Star Wars Hunters. If you're into that online multiplayer cartoony guys, this is the Star Wars like team v team with a bunch of Star Wars weirdos that are all kind of interesting and different. This is one where we're going to take a look at it at some point for RageSelect, but I haven't played it yet. It's definitely this is kind of what we were talking about before, where it's like it's hard to tell whether it's going to be fun by watching a nice sizzle reel. It looks like it could be fun, but I need to get my hands on it to find out for certain. It's definitely more the Fortnite-y version of Star Wars than like Battlefront. So,
when isn't there a Star Wars Fortnite like I guess this looks more like Vanguard or Overwatch, but okay, sure,
yeah,
why not?
Could be fun. Just who knows?
Who knows?
Let's see. From there, we got the speaking of crossover stuff. We got the full Homelander trailer for Mortal Kombat 1, the last of the the last of the specific licensed characters for this particular season. I think they've done a really good job here of making, because they had Peacemaker, Omni-Man, and Homelander, and it would be. I think it would be tempting to kind of make Omni-Man and Homelander similar in their move set, but Homelander seems like he plays relatively different. So I'll reiterate what I said before, where I just wish that I enjoyed playing Mortal Kombat 1 more so that I could actually so I could spend some time with it, because I usually load it back up to try these characters out and then go, okay, that was fun, and then uninstall it, move on with my life. But
yeah. Maybe this will give you enough Injustice vibes to make him your main.
I just want Injustice 3. I like Injustice 2 a lot. I really, really want Injustice 3.
Okay, but I started with the alternative. What if you tried this?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
They also have Farah of the. There's a character called Ferrator that was this little guy that was on the back of like this big guy from Mortal Kombat. I think it was like 10, and so that's the new assist character, because everybody has an assist. So
okay, cool.
Yep. Speaking of superheroes, we got the full release trailer for Capes, which is a basically XCOM but with superheroes. I feel like it's getting kind of like mixed reviews. I need to maybe look into a little bit more, but it's a tactics-based game set in a fictitious superhero universe where the villains won, and now you're playing as like rogue heroes trying to kind of clean up the city. And it's all turn-based as opposed to it's like an action game or anything like that. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I like those turn-based games, but this one seems like it might be a little generic, especially after Marvel Midnight Suns couldn't hold my attention all the way to the end, which was also a kind of XCOM-y turn-based action superhero game.
I think a good one.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm judging a book by its cover, but like I'm watching this trailer, and the thing that steps out to me is how much they lean into the comic book printing aesthetic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's halftone textures everywhere. There's like the
speech bubbles
that are not right.
Yeah.
Never really ever looked like that, and definitely don't look like that now.
Mm-hmm.
The very like heavily drawn portraits that they use, and I always think that that's maybe I'd say a yellow flag.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just don't think that ends up being an aesthetic you land on that is inspired.
Yeah, it is very generic. That is what I've been getting off. I was curious though, because I know they got some bad reviews.
World of Heroes-esque aesthetic.
So it's got a 74 on Metacritic. I don't know.
Trash. Blunder of the century.
Unplayable.
74.
Literally unplayable.
Unbelievable. Throw it in a pit.
This is funny. I forgot this was coming out, but they put out a remake of the original Bit Trip Runner called Bit Trip Rerunner. I really like the Bit Trip runner franchise. And this came out on I had to look it up because I was like, did I miss this? And this on August of last year, this came out on the PC, but it launched this week on the PS5. Have you ever played any of these where you're like constantly running and...
Oh yeah, I like these. I was confused because I thought I had played this. Maybe I played something else on on Game Pass or something before, another remastered thing. But oh man, it's got like a maker, and well, this looks pretty cool. I'll say
you could download custom tracks that other people have made.
Yeah, Bit Trip Maker. They should have called it Bit Trip Maker.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I got so into Bit Trip Runner. I think it was like 3, and where I was trying to 100% the game, and I got like 80% of the way through it, and I just kind of ran out. I got trapped. I got stuck on a level, but Yeah, but that's out. Go check it out if you got a PS5. I don't know why it's only PS5. Why would you put it out on the PS4? Like, that game doesn't require...
We're running into the future, Jeff.
I forgot. You really want games that are only on the PS5.
That's right. That's what I need. They heard me.
The next-gen games. We got, let's see, speaking of kind of retro-looking stuff, we got an extended gameplay trailer for Kill Knight, which was announced a little while back. That's like a very... violent top-down, kind of arena twitchy combat game, which I don't know. I'm split because part of this trailer makes me excited and another part of this trailer makes me exhausted, and they're both the same part of the trailer. So
it's like, it kind of looks like it has the aesthetic of like a Diablo sort of like dungeon, but it feels and moves like it's a twin stick controlled game.
Yeah.
Very much more twitchy than like waiting for skills and procs.
I don't know. It's also, maybe it's activating my Hades love, because it's kind of got a little bit of that
run. Yeah.
But it's also got like kind of a bullet hell aesthetic to it. So yeah. But there's actually a demo. It's coming out in the fall, and they just put out an actual demo last week, so I should go play that. Let's see. This was another PS5 trailer for a game called Conscript that I thought looked really interesting, where it's kind of a lo-fi, I think it's a World War II, like kind of top-down action horror adventure type of thing, where you're playing as like a soldier who's kind of trying to survive in the war, and there's like, it appears like monsters. I'm kind of a big fan of it's World War II, but then there's like monsters there as well, kind of aesthetic, and I like this kind of real lo-fi, reminds me of like a PSP game almost. Lo-fi, top-down, chunky kind of graphical.
A GBA game with a lot of really pixelated sprites.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like fucking Tony Hawk shit is a fake Tony Hawk shit is going on. Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, I'd never heard of it before. And I saw the trailer and I watched it and I was just like, I don't know, seems kind of interesting. Seems like kind of an interesting thing. So yeah.
Yeah, neat idea. It's a newish kind of retro. The Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance sort of look.
Let's see. We also got the demo. By the time you guys see this, we should have a video up for this for a game called Mouthwashing. Okay, so Bryce, there is a game.
Hey, this looks like a 90s retro aesthetic horror game.
A little bit, yeah. There's a game called How Fish is Made. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, where you play as a fish that drops down into this weird industrial area and you can just flop your way through the game, and everybody asks you whether you want to go up or down. They never expound on what that means. And so you've got some fish that are in like despair, and some that are very happy, and it's very weird and kind of like disturbing, but not in a like, then the zombies show up and they hack you to bits, but more in a just like unsettling alien way. And this is that developer's next game. And you can play How Fish is Made for free on Steam. And then they put out a demo for this Mouthwashing that is about a bunch of people on like an intergalactic spaceship that are stranded. And it's very unclear what's going on. I will say right now, you guys should go watch the video, but Bryce, at several points during the video, the screen froze as if the game had locked up. And then it did that like, you know, when you have an H.264 video and you lose frames and it does that weird smearing, digital wiping smearing. Like
sure.
The game would be locked up, and then as you were trying to move, it would suddenly digital wipe smear into like another scene. And it was short. We finished the demo, in about 30 minutes, but it's very interesting. And I'm a big sucker for just like, give me something weird that I've never seen before. And this is definitely that.
Yeah, this looks, I have no, you described it like the previous game as an awful game. You described a terrible game, so I'm excited to see what like that is or what any of that, because I have no fucking clue what I'm looking at. It kind of looks like a Resident, like there are menus that kind of look Resident Evil-y. There's like text treatments that look like they're kind of doing the 90s Japanese like serif font Eva thing. There's like weird VHS filtery sort of things that you wouldn't have seen on a CRT TV, but then okay, mouthwashing. Wash your mouth out.
Yeah, wait till you find out what that's about. What that name means. Okay. We got a release date for Sushi Ben. This is a PSVR 2 game. I only mention this because I believe this is the first game since that. It's just some kind of like, you're in this town, you're making sushi, you're interacting with kind of Japanese people. There's like a corporation that's trying to take over the town. This was written by the lady that wrote How to Fool Boyfriend. Which is, I think it's the first thing that they've done in like quite some time. And it looks like it's just a real kind of goofy, weird game where you pet the dog, you make the sushi, you interact with the townspeople, lots of mini games, but then also weird, like talking birds and strange stuff going on. So,
do you see this, Jeff? Like, because I'm looking at this and it's got like a kind of a simple cel shaded look to it, but I had to say this looks very aesthetically similar to like Mega Man Legends, like the very specific way that was like cel shaded. Do you see some of that?
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Yeah. The way the characters
like,
are kind of...
she looks kind of like Tron Bon a little bit.
Yep.
She's got like jiggle physics. Like, yeah.
Very simple, no like big hard outlines or anything, but just like using color to differentiate the different characters. Very anime, very kind of over the top. But
yeah.
That's out now.
This looks cool. Okay, yeah. Check it out if you got a VR thing.
Oh, wait, I have a VR thing. I should check it out.
Hey, you gotta check it out.
We also got the early access launch for Rogue Prince of Persia. This is the Prince of Persia game made by the guys that made the vast majority of the Dead Cells DLC, and it is very much Prince of Persia but Dead Cells. But then it's also a little different. Like, it's got this kind of wall running mechanic, and it's got like a kick and a lot of kind of interesting stuff. It's got this very speaking of kind of cel shaded, like flat color art style, and it's a roguelike. And we should have a video out for that next week, but it seems like if you like Dead Cells, that you'll probably like this too. So
just seems like bad timing.
How so?
With Hades 2 also having just been out. It seems like these like two big, I mean, obviously they play very differently. This plays more like Dead Cells is 2D, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Or as a side scroller, but you know, I like this seems like this always seems like an also mention title, even though it looks very, very nice. But like Hades is around. We've got Dead Cells. We've got Dead Cells at home.
The funny thing about this is that this was supposed to come out 2 weeks ago, and then they stealth dropped Hades, and the developer, like the lead on this project, was like, we are going to delay by 2 weeks because we don't want to go head to head with Hades. We want to give everybody time to play that. So, but then I got to the end of I got to the limits of what was in Hades 2 as far as a lot of the story goes. So, and it's once you get there, it's like, well, the next step is to wait for early access updates because there's nothing to do out unless you're into challenge sicko stuff, which I'm not.
So like it's not story complete, Hades 2? Like
when you get to the end of the part where like you're supposed to be killing Kronos, and when you kill Kronos, like there's obviously story that then is like, because in Hades 1 it's like once you kill Hades and there's a lot of story that happens after that, and when you kill Kronos then it kind of just stops you and says like more is coming in updates, you know, stay tuned. So
okay,
but that's what happened with Hades 1. When you got to the end of the second level in Hades 1 in early access, it was just like, that's it. We'll be adding more later.
Fine.
So
that's fine. I'm no longer like itching over it. I'm like, oh, okay, it's not done.
Just wait for it to come out. Speaking of bracketing new features onto games, No Man's Sky has a new expansion called Adrift, where it's like a mode with no shopkeepers and no NPCs, where you're in a kind of an empty, forsaken galaxy, and you're by yourself, and you have to kind of try to survive. There's some new ships, as always. Outside of that survival mode, I don't know that there's anything specific huge to this update, but the fact that they're still doing these style of updates is frankly amazing, because you guys could have stopped a long time ago on No Man's Sky, but they just keep bracketing more stuff on. So,
or started charging for some of these DLCs. But I think on the other hand, like, this is not a first party game, but this is like a pretty tight partnership game, No Man's Sky with Sony. So I think, the longer that they can keep growing it into something, then whenever it's actually time for No Man's Sky 2, well, I don't know. But then I'm describing the exact situations that led to the Kerbal team being dismantled and City Skylines 2 being rushed out.
Well, they're actually, we know what their next game is. It's called No Man's it's one world. It's one ultra detailed medieval fantasy world. So like No Man's Sky, but one giant world that is more dense with stuff to explore. So they probably, to be honest, at this point, from what I know about game development, they probably have a team of like 10 people that just keep cranking out these updates. The platform's there. They can obviously add to it. You say, we've made a lot of money on this. You guys just make whatever you want, and every 6 months, throw some new stuff in the game to try to get people to come back. So, we go through these real quick. There was the Skulls War, which is the Warhammer's like E3 thing last week. I didn't look at.
That's what Skulls is?
Yes.
I've been seeing, because I saw the Skulls banners and thought, what the fuck is Skulls?
Skulls is the yearly Warhammer games announcement stuff. So there's a few of these that were interesting, but not many. Rogue Trader is getting a thing called Void Shadows, which is a DLC with a new class, with some new content, some kind of more dark, like horror themed content. The one that was probably the most exciting was we got a look at Space Marine 2 and some multiplayer modes. So there's going to be basically 3 modes. One is 3-player co-op through the entire story. So you can play this whole story co-op with 2 of your friends. There's also a 3-person challenge mode where you can go into these levels and you kind of randomly assigned objectives and enemies and stuff that you're going to see. And then the last is kind of Space Marines versus Chaos Marines 6v6 adversarial multiplayer. What I was most excited though for is that I got to see more of Space Marine 2, and it looks incredibly violent and bloody, and there's a lot of people and there are a lot of enemies, and they're all getting turned into horrible soups by Ultramarines, and that's the part that I like the most. So,
what's weird is like it kind of looks like what Helldivers 2 should be. It kind of looks like what Helldivers 2 says it is.
There's just not as much blood in Helldivers 2.
Well, like Helldivers is a lot more like open spaces, like battlefields, where this has got, I don't know, a little bit more variety in, I don't know,
the environment and the enemies and just the situations that you're in.
Like, that's Boba Fett. There's a Boba Fett in this game.
There's a Chaos Marines. There's a Chaos Marines. Yeah. There's a game called Warhammer 40k Mechanicus. They are making a sequel to that. It looks like the Necrons are going to be the main bad guys there. This is a tactics strategy game. I don't know how many of those games have had the Necrons in them, but they're a big kind of fan favorite. They're like these zombie immortal robot skull guys. So that's going to be a thing. There's nothing in this trailer outside of just kind of this Necron guy growling and talking about how he doesn't like everything. So,
what type of game is Mechanicus?
It's a tactical game. It's a tactics kind of style game. A lot of them are that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. A lot of fucking Warhammer. Huh?
Yep. I cut out. There's like 4.
War.
We got 2 more, and there was like 4 other games that were in here that I didn't talk about. The new faction in Blood Bowl 3 that's like a kind of a horror-themed faction with werewolves and Frankensteins. This is the Warhammer turn-based football game that you can play. Looks pretty fun.
Wait, this is 4K or 40K also? Is Blood Bowl?
I think this might be Warhammer non-40K, just like the medieval Warhammer universe. So,
okay.
Because like it's like dwarves and humans all playing like full death football. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then last but not least, we got the announcement that Warhammer 40K Bolt Gun, the kind of boomer shooter that came out last year, is going to be getting both a Horde mode that you can get for free and an expansion called Forges of Corruption that adds a new level with some new challenges. This one was really fun. I don't know if it's still on Game Pass, but it was. It was challenging, but also, again, violent, colorful, pounding soundtrack and just like all kinds of craziness going on. So
it'll be interesting to see how this Game Pass plus DLC strategy works out for Warhammer. At least that's what I'm seeing out of all of these announcements is, a DLC expansions to existing games, 2 games that there are a lot. I mean, and I know, and I've played a bunch of it. There's a bunch of these games on these Game Passes. Mm-hmm. If you get someone hooked onto Bolt Gun or Blood Bowl, then yeah, you can convince them to buy a DLC episode. Mm-hmm. It will be interesting to see how that works out.
Yep. And that's all the trailers we have. Like I said, there were some more things in there, but for the most part, there were some more things at Skulls. But last time I tried to cover Skulls comprehensively, I just found myself going like, I don't know, man. Like it looks like another tactics game, and I don't know enough about 40K to tell you what the difference is. So
there was a priest on stage. There was red smoke. I didn't know what the fuck was. I haven't spoken. I don't speak Latin.
We finally got a release date for Zenless Zone Zero, which is the Hoyoverse third-person action game that I've been kind of excited for, and that's happening on July 4th, PC, PS5, and mobile. So that finally is a thing.
There we go.
We also found out that Strange Horticulture is getting a sequel. This was a kind of a little indie game where you would try to identify plants in a kind of a fantasy kind of setting, and it's going to be called Strange Antiquities, and so it's more about identifying antiques instead of plants. But Strange Horticulture was very well regarded. I think that one might have been on Game Pass as well. But yeah, and that's coming. I don't know if it has a release date.
Okay.
So
look out in the future.
Yep. Let's see. This is a PSA for everybody. Apparently the Dave the Diver Godzilla DLC that just finally came out, where Godzilla shows up in that game, is only available from now until November 23rd. So if you want that DLC, you need to claim it. That's probably some kind of weird Toho licensing nonsense where they gave them like a 9-month license on the game, and after that you can't offer it anymore. I've never seen that before.
It's one of those free to add, free to keep things.
Yes.
So if you've got the game, or maybe you don't, as long as you add it to your account, it'll stick with you.
Yes. So yeah, get on that if you want it. As of the podcast, Night Dive put out a big Humble Bundle, which if you're into the retro stuff, this is their remastered FPS games. And for $20, you can get Turok 3, Rise of the Triad, Power Slave Exhumed, Doom 64, Turok 2, Forsaken, Blood, Turok Sin, and a coupon for PO'd. These are all a bunch of older, shooters that they've remastered with their current tech. And I guess whether you're interested, I think that probably Blood is the best thing in that list, but some people like Turok more than I do. So I don't know.
I'm a PO'd fan.
I'm convinced that was a European game or something, because it seems like it's a whole thing, but I've never heard of it before. Speaking of things that nobody's ever heard of before, Skull and Bones is giving people a week to play for free. If you guys are still on the fence and you want to, it's going through June 6th. Oh yeah, it's been out for a while. So yeah, it's going through Thursday of this coming week. So if you did want to come, they've got a new quote unquote season that's going on. So if you wanted to find out if you want to play Ubisoft's weird pirate game, try it.
I feel like they would give longer than a week, only because I imagine the people who are still playing the social pirate game. What is it? The actual
Skull and Bones.
But
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves. Mm-hmm. Like, I have to imagine those are people who play that game like once a week. So you should give them like a couple of weeks to try to coordinate a data. Well, they're trying the other pirate game, and it's finally coming out. They're doing it for, I think 1 week's not enough. You're trying to hook these people for life. Mm-hmm. Give us a little taste.
Yeah, or at least make a bigger deal out of it, like so that people actually know that it's happening.
Sea of the Skull and Bones is not Sea of Thieves, and it's out now.
That's the marketing, is to differentiate yourself from the other pirate game. This was let's see, we got a report that came out that said that Sefton Hill and Jamie Walker have signed a deal with Microsoft to make a big budget AAA action game for Xbox. For those people that don't know, Sefton Hill and Jamie Walker are the people that made all of the Batman Arkham Asylum stuff. They were working at Rocksteady on Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, but they left in 2022 once all the story stuff, once the game was basically done. Yeah. So for anybody that wants that appreciated those games, maybe this is something to keep an eye on, just in case you something good comes out of it. So
interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. Another like talent acquisition deal. Like, do those guys have a team? Could those guys make a game right now? Like, okay, just cool.
Who knows?
Yeah.
And then last, we got a couple of quick fun things. Bryce, people are drawing a lot of characters in the style of Hades too. So they are adding characters from Kratos to Solaire to Asterion from Baldur's Gate 3. I've seen, this is just the ghost operator from Call of Duty. This is somebody from Outer Wilds. Shadow the Hedgehog.
Oh yeah,
this
so edgy
kind of stuff. The guys from
Good Omens.
Good Omens, Crowley and the other guy.
Zeraphil.
I like this one. Somebody did. This is the Has-Been Hotel lady.
Okay, yeah.
This is just Chainsaw Man because people like that character. There was one that I liked quite a bit that was Jesus. I thought this one was really good.
Oh, he's carrying a sheep. This one's really good. This really looks in style.
Yeah, he's got a sheep on his shoulders. Where it's somebody did a lot better job of aping the style with this Jesus, and I think that's such an interesting.
I like it. It says Jesus, and then it says Christ.
Yes. And then of course Hatsune Miku.
Okay.
So I think Jesus makes the most sense out of all these, but yeah. Let's see. In other Hades news, Super Groupies, I think I talked about them last week, is making some Hades merch. They were in the news last week for making some Bloodborne stuff, but they're making these things. Their whole thing is making stuff that's kind of tangentially related to the thing, but it doesn't look so much like it that you would ever know. So they've got like a bomber jacket that's kind of the Hades red and black. It's got some, I think the eyelets are red and green for Zagreus's eyes that are the different colors. And it's got some kind of lining on it. They have a watch that kind of is it's got the
skull. Oh, there's Cerberus on the right.
Yeah, it's got Cerberus in the skull and kind of the iconography. Oh,
Cerberus is the 3. Yeah, he's got the 3. Okay.
And then they have like a backpack that kind of has a little inside thing with a lot of the symbols on it. these are all about $200 a pop. I don't wear anything but black t-shirts, so this isn't for me, but I do look at these sometimes and go, I don't know, that could be fun.
If they're good, like if these are good pieces, like that's not $220 is not crazy for like good outerwear.
Yeah.
$200 is not crazy if that's a good watch, and like it's got like a lot of design stuff. It looks like it's got a lot of moving pieces in it. Like that's not crazy. Like they did this with like the only bummer with this stuff is I wish the stuff was available.
Oh, that's cool.
For longer. Like Death Stranding, they had a bunch of like limited fashion wear collections go out, and then you couldn't get them because they were like $800 and only in Japan.
Yeah.
Like, so this is all cool, but like good to the 14 people who are going to get one.
Yeah, true.
I like that backpack looks cool. Look at all the details on it.
Oh, it's got the red and the green tabs for his eyes, and it's got the skull, the kind of the Hades skull in the middle. Yeah, there's a lot. I love the fact that I didn't see this before, but on the jacket, it's on the sleeve. They've got the three skulls like Zagreus has on his shoulder, which is pretty fun. So, well, speaking of overpriced stuff that you can't get outside of Japan, Bryce, here I've got one.
Yes.
I've got one for you. These are $80 bottles of Near wine, and the whole thing about them is that the casks that they put it in, they hooked a speaker up and piped the soundtrack into the casks while the wine was aging for however amount of time it was aging, which is silly but kind of cool.
But also, it's not nothing.
Yeah.
Like, that might have done something to the wine. You don't know. That's so, like, those things are vibration, material conducting. You don't know. Maybe it aerated your tannins or something. I don't know. You tell me, like, that's fine. And $80, that is also not crazy for specialty branded wine.
They've got so they have
two types.
They have a 2B and a 9S type. So the 2B type is I think like a Merlot, and then the 9S type is like a more of a cherry flavor type of thing. So yeah.
Okay, that's cool. You know what? You don't see that every day.
They even have the specific soundtrack tracks that they used for each one of them. So
oh my god! Wait, so they both. Do they have different versions of Weight of the World? No, they had the same. They had the English version. Oh,
yeah.
That's the song from the end of the game. Okay, interesting.
So yeah, I thought that was kind of fun.
I like that. I like that a lot.
And you know what? There's also some Legos, but we're just going to finish there because this is a $300 Deku Tree, and I think the wine was a better ending place. So yeah. That's it. That's the show. We're done. Bryce, where can people find you when you're not over here talking about Near wine with me?
Yeah. Hey, check out the website for the Marbles streaming thing that I do. It's a community racing game where everyone in the live chat gets to join in, and you don't have to do anything. It's not very complicated at all. The website is marbles.win. Sign up for the email list or get in the Discord. We're going to have information about the next time we're going to go live. Yeah, that's the big thing I got right now. Thank you.
Can you buy that shirt, that sweet shirt? Are you selling the sweet shirts?
We do have. We have nice shirts. The nice thing I like about the merch, if I can just pitchman for just like 1 sec, is that all the merch doesn't have. I mean, this one says LFG on it, but it doesn't have like a bunch of URLs or gaudy. I think that they all like are really kind of understated. I think they're kind of understated. I think they fit into really any casual wardrobe you can imagine.
You can wear it under your Hades bomber jacket, and no one would know that you are repping two things at the same time.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Anyway, marbles.win. Check it out. We just got hats. If you've been hearing me, we just got hats. We got baseball caps and mesh hats. So check them out.
Cool. And you're already on RageSelect.com, but maybe consider going to patreon.com/RageSelect. You can talk with me about weird stuff in the Discord. So, especially because next week is the big Summer Games Fest is happening on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I'm going to be in the Discord all weekend watching the stuff and talking about it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It starts the 7th, so it starts on Friday. Yeah, snuck up on you, did it?
It did. It really did.
Well, at least it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I think there's the Ubisoft thing on Monday. But it's not like it used to be like a Monday through Friday, and if Friday through Monday is a little bit easier because you're already but
it used to just really be Monday and Tuesday,
right? Where the big conferences were. Yeah. So
okay, whatever.
Yeah.
All
right, that's it.
Goodbye.
We're done. Bye, everybody. Bye.